All right, we're live. Tapping Birdie, newly elevated RBC Heritage. Here with Tour Picks, Joe Idoni. Joe, pleasure to have you on tonight. How are you?
What up, baby? TIB back in the building, ready to go. What do you got, a nooner there?
I got a nooner. It's always a watermelon leftover from the weekend, the worst flavor. So doing a pod after this. So I just, want to have two drinks for my two pods tonight, take the edge off a little bit from a
Yeah.
stressful week of work. I know you're not used to podding on Tuesday nights. Like, are you okay? Like, everything's good? Like, everything's fine?
Everything's perfect, man. Everything is perfect in the world. We got another fun golf tournament to talk about. I'm excited to do it with you. We haven't spoken in a while. I enjoyed you with Chad and the boys last week. I thought you guys had a good little banter going on. So excited to kind of talk whatever you want to talk about. Recap Masters, bet some RBC. Let's go, babe.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Like, honestly, like, I'm not even kidding. This is not a made up story. Like, my parents always try and like make small talk with me about like the golf tournament. Like, oh, where is it this week? Like, who's playing? And my dad literally said at dinner, he's like, oh, so it's probably like a really bad field this week. Like, it's probably like a bad event. I'm like, no, it's actually the opposite. It's like the complete opposite of it. We have an elevated event after the Masters. I personally like it. I personally don't think that there was a better event to make elevated. I think it makes a lot of sense. Like, I have no qualms with RBC being elevated. I think all the elevated events this year were really not, they were like not elite PGA Tour events and they were not bad PGA Tour events, like Travelers, RBC, Wells. I put those in the same category of just like mid tier good PGA Tour events.
Yeah, it's a great stop. It's very different from Augusta. It's always kind of held its position this week, and occasionally we'll get some big names who are there at the weekend show up. I don't know what I was wondering. I'm not a huge stat guy, as you know, Brian, but I'm wondering what the data would indicate in terms of like guys who had played 4 rounds at Augusta showing up here historically. Like, are they below their baseline? I would think that they would
Yeah.
be. That makes sense to me, but I don't really know if the data would back that up.
Yeah, no, it will be interesting. And I do think that like you have to kind of throw out a little bit of like the past winners and stuff given the elevated field. But you like it, Spot? Like, do you like this being an elevated event right after the Masters? Like, I'm very happy with it because like you, like we love to bet on golf. So anytime you give me like a major quality field on a good course, like anytime I'm betting a good number, like I'm happy. Like, I don't care the logistics of it.
Yeah, let me down easy. And then next week we can take off for the Zurich,
Oh,
right? So
I have never looked. I'm so much looking forward to next week. Like, I'm not doing any content. Like, I
me
might take a
neither.
break
No
from
Joe.
Twitter.
It's
Like, I
canceled. You
might
heard it
like
here.
legitimately like try and take a break from Twitter. That is my goal for next week is to like really cut back on Twitter next week. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to.
Yeah, but it's nice because we don't go from like the Super Bowl to like immediate preseason game,
Yeah.
right? At least we get
Yeah.
like an elevated field. It feels like a play-in game before the playoffs. So at least we get a little bit of a gap before we go crashing from like the 50th floor down to the ground.
Yeah, yeah, tough. Bad next 2 weeks. Then Wells, then Byron, which will be okay, and then the PGA Championship. So,
Yep.
I like we two. There are 2 bad weeks on the PGA Tour. They're coming up. I'm not too looking forward to it, but it will be fine. I don't think it will be bad. Masters was last week. You had an absolutely crazy week. I knew that this would happen. I asked you on for RBC a while ago. I was like, he's probably gonna have a ticket to win like 100 grand on Brooks at the time. He's going to be coming off it. I knew you had Brooks. I got some inside information from our friend Matt that you had this massive ticket on Brooks. And I was like, I thought Joe just bet to win like a couple grand like the rest of it. Tell me the story of betting $1,000 on Brooks Koepka in Vegas at the Masters. Like, how did this come about? Like, how did you land on this ticket? Like, did your wife know you bet that much money on a golf tournament in Vegas? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, so it's the story has taken some crazy turns. The truth of the matter is it was not just my bet. It was me and one other friend that I met in Vegas out there who actually had the majority of the ticket.
Okay.
I still would have stood to make like a new car, basically,
Okay.
I'll call it, on
Okay.
Brooks if he won, which would have been fun. Yes, my wife was aware of it. I don't hide the bets from her. She is welcome in the sweat. She was texting me. And she actually is a saint. So she took the kids and gave me some time to myself. I was originally planning, Brian, to like pull up like a Brooks sweat stream. Like I was going to
Yeah.
stream like the last 5 holes, but I was so like I was drunk and I was disheveled and it was just like a bad look
Dejected.
and I was sad. So I didn't do it. But yeah, it was an awesome sweat. It's been like I didn't have Cam Young for that much at the Open Championship, but it's been back-to-back majors now where I have this massive bomb 100 to 1 that like I
Yeah.
feel like is going to get there. And then I've been like fortunate to still hit the winner in both, but
Yeah.
it just all it at the same time felt like it could have been so much more.
So you had a much smaller ticket. You just had like a normal size bet on Rom. Was there any part of you that wanted to hedge a lot more on Brooks, or were you comfortable with your Rom position? Because it was clearly a two-man race. Like
Right.
if I was in a position to win, whatever, a cup, like it was a good position that you could have just half the bet.
Yeah, so I'm not normally a hedger. I did hedge some out at
Okay.
plus 175 on ROM
Nice.
Sunday morning. I had the ticket pre-event, but I wanted to get some more down just because I had such huge exposure on Brooks.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was an abnormal amount for sure. The ROM bet was for a couple $100 at like 11 to 1. It was great. It was fine. It covered all my bets for the week. I won some money.
Yeah.
But it still left me with like this taste of like I think, like, honestly, dude, I think it was the best bet I've ever made. Like in terms of value, in terms of like what could have happened. So the three best bets I feel like that have been the most fun that I've ever made that haven't hit were Brooks, was Cam Young at the Open, and second actually over Cam Young was Xander the 1 year. And some people will remember this, but going back to my early days on Twitter, they had 100 to 1s on Xander at the Masters the Tiger year.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it was the year before Tiger. I don't remember, but I bet it like 7 different times. And I just kept, I had all these 100 to 1 tickets and I was touting them and he was like in it with like 3 holes to go. So some fun stories, but much like golf betting, there's a lot of fun stories and not a lot of great winners.
Yeah, no, well, I'm glad that you found yourself on Rom last week. It was obviously a great card when you have basically the two guys that were like truly ever in contention to truly win that golf tournament for like more than like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Um like overall thoughts on the Masters, throw away like your massive bet, like just as like a golf viewer, like what would you rate this Masters? Like did you enjoy it? Like did you think that it like kind of held up? Like I have some thoughts, but I'm curious to see what you think.
Yeah, I do. I think my second favorite one besides the Tiger year in recent memory, at least since like I've been really focused on
Yeah.
golf content stuff, the Tiger year was so special. That's going to be hard to ever beat. But this Masters had almost everything else. Like if Brooks could have been maybe even like one stroke closer and
Yeah.
Rahm hit that tee shot on 18, it would have
Yeah.
felt different. It would have been like, oh my God, is that in bounds? Like, can he blow a 2-stroke, 3-stroke lead here? But the separation he was able to create on 17 kind of ruined the drama. But yeah, it had everything else for me, man. It had weather, it had wave advantage, it had controversy, it had rules violations,
Yeah.
it had live versus PGA, it had
Yeah.
Phil. Like that
Yeah.
was amazing to me, and I wish it was more covered. But there were some really great stories I'll remember.
Yeah, I think it's so weird about the Masters, like kind of just looking at the last four throw out the decky year. Like I tweeted this before. The past we're throwing out decky. So the past three Masters winners all had three PGA Tour victories in like a couple months, and they all dominated the fields and won easily. Like it, but you don't get that in other majors, really. Like the Open Championship multiple guys could have went down the stretch. It was extremely exciting on the back nine on Sunday. The U.S. Open was extremely exciting on the back nine of Sunday. Multiple people were in it.
Sure.
PGA Championship, like the Masters, for whatever reason, a lot of times, and you go back even further, a lot of times guys just kind of run away with it. And the back nine is not always super, super interesting. And all those Masters final rounds are up on YouTube, and you could go watch them, and you go watch them, and you're like, this is kind like there's a few where it's like you don't really know who's going to win to the last hole, but like a lot of them are kind of like 3-shot victories. A lot of drama gets taken away on Sunday. And I think that was, kind of one of the bad aspects of the Masters is that, the back nine of Sunday really wasn't that competitive because Rahm just absolutely dominated the field with he 4 putt of the first hole. He had 3 3-putt pars and he was in the bad wave and he won by 4. Like Rahm legitimately won that tournament by like 8 strokes.
Yeah, it's insane. He's so good. He was perfect. He was patient. He was like very, very productive and everything he was doing. So let me ask you, dude, because I kind of agree with you there in that like last year it was the worst of the 4 majors. What is it? Like, do you think it's the course that is doing this? Do you think it's just totally luck? Like, I feel like Rahm's just as likely to win the US Open by 5, but why is like that not happening?
I think it's if you're on, it's easier to score at the Masters than the US Open. It's very hard to run away with the US Open or a PGA because it plays a lot more difficult. But when you're the best player in the world, i.e. Scotty and DJ, and you're firing, you could just fire. And it's a lot easier to go low. And I feel like every year at the Masters, other than the Decky year, if Rahm or Scotty or DJ weren't in it, it would have been an extremely compelling Masters because you have that group a little bit below, like 3-shot back that are completely there. So, but that's just kind of what it is. For the Masters, I did enjoy Saturday. Obviously, I mean, Sunday morning, I did, was drinking Saturday, was up late. And then it's like, oh shit, there could be a 2-shot swing. I wake up at 8. I'm like, I got to watch this. So I enjoyed kind of, the Saturday, the marathon, that Jim Nance called it. It was a good Masters. And again, it's all obvious, after the fact, but 3 out of the 4 past Masters, the hottest player with the most wins won and kind of ran away with it. And I think that's certainly something to note. Last year, and even the Decky year, there was no one that had that kind of hot run going. And so I think that kind of checks out. But yeah, Rahm was obviously the best play last week.
Sick. He was awesome. We were quick to forget. I had John PGA Tout on, and we talked a lot about it. And it was just looking at the top 3, it was insane. And even Rahm talked about it. When somebody mentioned it, and he's like, somebody talked about him being the favorite, and he was like, I'm not the favorite. I'm 3rd on the odds board.
He was 2 points behind. He was acting like he was 40 to 1.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I understand. And he had a hard group at the match play. He kind of fell off at the API. It wasn't it withdrew from the players. And again, victory lap, huge victory lap. Scotty didn't win. I guaranteed he wouldn't win. So massive congrats to me for calling that one of my best calls ever. But yeah, Scotty was obviously playing really well, but it was kind of just easy to throw him out with the defending champion. And then Rory, who is getting tougher and tougher to defend and cheer for, especially after what happened this week. It's truly ridiculous.
I kind of agree, man. I'm afraid to give bad, I'm afraid not to give bad. I'm afraid to give negative takes on Rory because it will be so ill received because everyone likes him. I like him. I don't want, but it's becoming hard to form a narrative that he's in any way clutch anymore, that this burden that he's been carrying isn't weighing on him. And I feel like he gets away with stuff and more than we would let any other player. He's skipping another elevated event after he talked about how important they are and how the changes are. And to me, if I'm another guy on tour, a middling tour pro, I don't know, a Brian Harmon or something, I'm looking at this guy you're full of shit, dude.
Yeah. But I mean, hopefully there are consequences. It's pretty clearly laid out that you can't skip 2. So that's really kind of interesting to me. I think it's an extremely bad look given the fact that he's the face of the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
to skip it for no real reason other than that he sucked at the Masters when everyone thought he would play well. Like, there's not, like betting. Like, I feel like you're the same way. Like, there's very often where like you don't have money on someone, but you would like be happy if they won.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been happy if Rory won last week. Like, I think a lot of people
100%.
would have been. And like for him to just completely like blow it, it's just like, dude, like, what are you doing? And then to just, it's tough. It's a tough look. It's hard to be like a Rory lover. I'm interesting to see what he does like in these majors coming up. I mean, I'm sure he will play well or something, but yeah, it's just kind of disappointing to see him not be here this week. And you have Rom, like the defending champion, like on Twitter
Showed
that
up.
he's like grinding over like 3-foot
I
par putts. It's
know.
just like really tough look.
He's out there signing autographs today. They're like tweeting pictures of him. I'm like, this guy, like,
Yeah,
he should be doing the like the Jimmy Fallon victory tour, but he's instead
yeah.
signing autographs for fan down the road at the RBC. You love to see it. What about I gotta ask you, like, where are you at with your boy Willie right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's just really sad. Like it's just
I
like
know.
I just was like he's at a good number. Like he said he was fine. Like he didn't even withdraw because of like a back injury or something. Like he had a good finish not that long ago. Like whatever, I'll bet him. And then it was just like he withdrew, and I was like, what the hell? And I wasn't like mad that he withdrew. Obviously, it was before he teed off. Like I played small draft games. Like I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy. And like the fact that I saw it like in person, him withdraw, like it's just really weird. Like I just can't even imagine what would happen if he didn't win St. Jude. Like,
Oh my
like
God,
you just
you're right, dude.
like I feel like I made a deal with the devil for him to win. And like I remember being like, I don't care what happens to me, just like let Wilsey win. He like literally like gets an unplayable and Seth just boofs it in the water. Like I feel like Will like made a deal with the devil to win St. Jude.
Bro, it's hard for me to like wrap my head around a scenario. And like I almost like I would love an explanation. Like, how do things transpire that drastically different in like 36 hours from I'm 100% healthy, like telling everyone, his fans, everyone this, to literally knocked out, anesthesia, back surgery, like done for the year, like 36 hours later. I don't understand it. Like,
Crazy.
you think something happened that night, or he just was like, yeah, I practiced all week, I've been preparing, but like I just don't feel ready.
Well, yeah, I saw something that the goal was always to have him ready by the Masters, and he played a bunch of events before the Masters,
Right.
and then like I guess he didn't feel good waking up the morning of the Masters, and then was just like, well, this is going to keep happening unless we take drastic changes. So
But that's crazy, bro. I didn't
yeah,
feel good waking up the morning of the Masters. Like, you felt good waking up the morning of the practice round of the Masters.
yeah.
Like, if it's as little as like your back was tight, like I don't get that.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, like we might have seen the best of Wilsey. Like, I don't think that is like a crazy statement. Like,
I
he
don't
just
know.
had like an unbelievable 2 years, and he just like played by back injury. I'm not old, but like backs like don't like get better. Like, it's really tough to recover from,
Yeah.
especially when you're a golfer. And other than like Daniel Berger, like I can't think of a golfer being out for a long period of time. It just doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
So that sucks. I'm gonna have to find someone to bet in these majors coming up, but yeah, I mean it's really upsetting. I hope that it wasn't my fault that he is injured after seeing him for the first time, but it's upsetting. But we're gonna move on. RBC this week, Hilton Head. You're a Florida guy. Have you ever gone up to Hilton Head? Like my friend has a house there. I've gone down a few times. I've never played this course. Any connection with HH?
No connection with this place directly. I've been to like Sea Island and a couple of it like surrounding areas and played golf, but yeah, nothing in Harbor Town. No.
Any good memories here? Hit any winners here? Anyone on your
Had
your
Spieth
cover
last
photo?
year.
Okay,
Had
sick
Webb.
bet, because that bet made no sense.
No, so it kind of reminded me. So I kind of remembered, and going back at like my take on that was like Spieth had these really high expectations for the Masters last year, and
Yeah.
he had not only a miscut, like if you remember a horrible late, like bad miscut where he imploded on Friday. And that was kind of like one of my takes was like, yeah, I don't want guys who played all 4 days at the Masters, right or wrong.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
kind of why I landed on him. And it like makes me think about like crazy, but it makes me think about Justin Thomas this week because he had such a horrible miscut where he was like
Yeah.
a shoe in and he's talking with the AirPods about making the cut and having a long weekend ahead.
Yeah.
And it just completely disappointing. And you get a fair number on him. Like I had Spieth at 40 last year. So it's like, I didn't bet it, but that's one that I'm considering. I have room for one more right
Yeah.
now. Let's
No,
try to talk through it.
I think Spieth last year, like on just like a macro level, like basically looking at it, didn't make sense. Like this guy is unbelievable, bulletproof at Augusta. He misses the cut, and then he goes out and wins the next week. Like that just doesn't like make sense. But at the end of the day, it was just a pure like this is a really good number, so I'm going to bet it.
Yeah.
And again, we bet losers every single week. 98% of the guys you bet to win a golf tournament lose, like literally. So if that was just a pure numbers play, but that was a great bet by you. So hopefully we can keep it going. Three guys at the top: Scheffler 8-1, Rahm 10-1, Cantley 12. It's very easy for me to throw all these out from a betting perspective. Like, I don't think Scott is going to win. Rahm's certainly not winning. And Cantley at 12, absolutely 100% cannot bet Patrick Cantley at 12-1. Like, I'm just so out on that.
I'm so out on Cantlay too. As having the Brooks ticket, I place a ton of blame on his shoulders. It was all Patrick's fault now, but it was just a tough scene. Like I will say, if there's anyone that's like equipped to deal with the hate of the entire golf Twitter world coming down on you, like and put blinders up, it's probably him. Was in the playoff last year with Spieth. Spieth kind of got lucky in a bunker. Patrick got unlucky in a bunker, and that was a wrap. But look, not at 12-1, not right now, not for me.
Yeah, I'm like at 12-1. Like if he does win, like I'm totally fine with that being like I wasn't on it because he's not at a good number, and like I just don't like it. And I was like tweeting about Patrick Cantley like early in the round just because like I bet him and like I wanted him to be in contention so I could feel like I would like watching for something. And then it just like took a whole nother turn. Like it was like everyone was like, because I was like eating Easter dinner when he was on 16 and like it was bad. I will say, not to defend him, like when they got to 2T, like they were teeing off. Like it was bad.
Sam Bennett was in front of
for
him.
For sure. But he definitely was like playing slow. But yeah, he honestly going forward, like every year Patrick Cantley makes so much sense at the Players and the Masters. Don't fucking bet him. Like Players, maybe he cannot putt at Augusta. Like he has consistently proven that he cannot putt at Augusta. He never putted well before, and he putted absolutely horribly. No one was beating Rahm, but that was a gross putting performance. So I'm glad we're out on those top three. Colin at 18. Like I think Colin obviously makes a lot of sense. Like I just think a place where being extremely accurate off the tee, having a lot of mid to long irons in, it's just perfect for Colin. Like this is a really, really great spot for him. At 18-1, it's kind of tough considering he's never proven that he can putt here. He's just always struggled. You know, he always struggles putting, but he has not putted well here. Obviously, was kind of in a battle with Stu Singh 2 years ago. I'm like, I'm not completely done. I'm like leaning towards no on Colin, but it does make sense from a course fit standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, this place rewards accuracy, right? And he's one of the best off the tee in the entire field. The short to mid irons, he's also elite at. But like I don't know. I get it why people would bet him. I think it's a relatively fair number at 18-1. I'd just rather have two at like 36 than one at 18. And look, I just think back to Spieth and Kuchar and like the people that I've seen win here, and it takes some magic around the greens. It takes a chip in. It takes like 4 chip ins if you're Spieth last year, and he's just still shown like not the ability to be proficient with his chipping and pitching around the greens because he's gonna miss some of them. Everyone does here. They're tiny.
Yeah, like I'm fine to take a gamble on his putter when he's like 25 to 28. Like, I'm fine with
Mhm.
that. But at 18, like, I just can't
It's been
do
a
it.
long time for him since he's had a win.
I
Was it
know he
the
hasn't won
Open?
since the Open.
Oh my god, you're
So
right.
it like, and that's where I bet him at the Players. Like, he looked good for like a couple rounds. Like, people be a popular like major play, especially at LACC. But like, I truly do believe that like he needs a win before he can like win a major again. But it is getting kind of concerning. But yeah, I mean, even at um TOC where he obviously kind of blew it down the stretch, like I don't know how Colin Morikawa could putt better than that this week, that week, and he
Yeah,
didn't even win.
yeah.
So it's tough for me to get there just because of the putter. Cam Young, 22 to 1. I am always up early on Monday mornings. I knew I was betting Cam Young at this event like 3 weeks ago. So I got a 28 on Bet Rivers. I
Same.
think we're in for a Zalatoris situation at St. Jude, where an extremely talented golfer that's proven it in the majors but doesn't have a win kind of just all comes together one week. I really love the way he has been playing ever since Paul Tesori came on the bag. Like if match play was a stroke play event, he wins that event
Yeah,
by a lot.
it's funny.
Um,
You're right.
Kind of backs it up at the Masters, a place where he miscut the last year. Finishes T8, plays extremely well. Um, I just like the way he's been playing. Cam Young is going to win a PGA Tour event very soon. I like the caddy angle with Tesori on the bag. I like a 28 to 1. I like a 22 to 1. I think we're going to get a winner out of Cam Young this week. I feel good about it. As good as I can feel about winning a golf bet, considering I've had a horrible year. I'm hoping to get off the schneid with CY this week.
Okay, so that's two people now because my boy Luke's on him too. He texted me on Sunday because we were sweating Brooks together that Cam Young's single bullet week, so he's been ready for it. I don't have a 28. 22 is what I saw. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna bet him at the lowest number he's
Yeah.
ever been in an elevated event. I don't. And look, I know the finish last year, but is this really a great course fit for him? I don't know. You made me think about it with match play because that was sort of Pete Dye also. And it's interesting that if that was just a 72 hole stroke play event, like just take the first 4 rounds stroke play, he probably wins by like 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So I think you just need to be an elite ball striker, which I think
okay.
he is.
He is.
And I think that was kind of off him for a while because the putter was so bad, but he's been putting well. Like
Yeah.
he's actually kind of putted well and he's been all right around the green. And I really like him with the wedge in his hand. And I think he'll be further out there. I know like kind of sometimes people don't equate like being super long off the tee with being super accurate, but like he just like he can be extremely accurate off the tee, and I don't think he's like an extremely like squirrely driver. So I love Cam Young this week. I bet him pretty heavy. Like I bet my more than my normal amount on him. Which I never do. I like told my casual friends to bet on him. Like fuck her. Like I don't like doing that because it always mushes it. But like I'm just Cam Young, just win this week, please. Like I really don't ask for a lot in life. Like I just need a winner, and I'm hoping it's Cam Young this week.
I can say nothing bad about his chances this week other than I don't love the 22 to 1.
Yep.
If you have 28, that's much better.
Are we throwing out just Spieth repeating?
Yeah, I'm throwing out Spieth repeating. Like 4 rounds in contention, and just his comments this week. Like
Yeah,
a big
about
thing for me, and this is one of like I'm weird where I'm not gonna sit and do like stat models all day and run numbers and spreadsheets. I like to look at that stuff, but for me, it's a lot about gut and feel. And when I hear someone make comments that they've played too much golf and they need a break, I'm gonna listen to him. And he probably doesn't want to be here. So that was a big thing for me this week, and like trying to think about if this wasn't an elevated event, would this player still be here? And those are the guys that I tried to bet, like people that I think would come back here, whether it was elevated or not,
Yeah,
and be the favorite in this event, and guys who are maybe obligated to be here and aren't
yeah,
Rory with the balls to withdraw out of their second elevated event. So Spieth, I think, is the latter. He's obviously defending champion, so he was coming back either way, but I just feel like he needs a breather,
yeah.
and I don't love the number.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm very fine passing on speed. Are you a Hovland guy? Like, do you like Victor
Becoming
Hovland? Do you bet him a lot?
no, I don't.
No.
I'm
I've
becoming I'm coming around though. The more and more that he like is finding himself on the page of a leaderboard on Sunday and majors, I'm getting there. I worry that he makes really bad club choices. Like he has every shot,
Yeah,
but
on
there,
Sunday, because my friend
bro.
Adam was sweating Hovland, and it was like 2 holes in a row. It was like, "What club were you hitting there, bro?"
Exactly. The par three on the front when he was in absolute perfect position when Brooks is bogey and Rom stumbles. Rom doesn't like come thrusting out of the gate. It's like Vic's situation. In that par three, he like misclubbed it 2 clubs long, makes
Yeah.
double. And then the one where he went in the water, like there's been a couple of those. It happened at I think Bay Hill, and there's just been some where he comes up drastically short of the green and it's just totally either long or and it's like, I don't understand how someone who can flush it out of the center of the face, if he's just like, if it's a caddy thing, if he's getting bad number, I don't know what it is, but I am starting to really come around on his total game. And I like the fact that he's getting in contention more and more.
I'm not even kidding. He might be the one of the only guys I've like literally never bet. Like I never ever 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 bet Hovland. Like I'm kind of like a Hovland hater. Not like a Hovland hater. Like he just needs a big win. Like his
Mhm.
talent does not equal his wins at all. The Hero World Challenge does not count. It's a fucking exhibition. Like that is not a real PGA Tour event. And he's won in Mayakoba twice. Like he needs a big win. I don't have a reason like to be out on him this week. Like I think that he is such an elite ball striker that he can play well here. I like the chipping I saw out of him
Yeah,
last week. Like
me too.
I've never been more closer to betting Hovland in my life. I have room. Like I could bet him. Like I might. He's like 30 on bookmaker, which like is a pretty
Bro,
good
and
line.
like he had like there were a couple putts from like 10 feet just for par with like
Yeah, he was putting
stones
really
in the
well.
heart. Good
Yeah.
speed, firm, like aggressive putts in the heart, just walked it in with ease. So
Yeah. I
I'm
feel like you're buying at top of market and he's not at a bad price.
yep. I'm
So
becoming more and more on board.
I'm very much so like debating Hovland. Like I might bet him. Xander, I think it makes sense from a terms of just like kind of his travelers win. Like after the US Open and then the Travelers like the next week, I was like, is this really a good Xander course? Like he just kind of played all right at the major and he goes out and wins. Like I prefer Hovland a lot over Xander. I'm kind of out on him. I don't really have any much thoughts about Xander.
Yeah, dude. I have Xander on my season long team in the league, and I'm so out on Xander, man. He's got no juice.
Yeah,
He's becoming gutless. He's like low T out there, big
yeah,
time. Like
yeah,
nothing gets him real. Nothing can really get him going unless he's like tickling the leaderboard absolutely late. It seems like nothing can rev the engine. Every time he's in a situation to put himself in a good position, he seems to like bogey a par five. So he's consistent. He's probably a good like DraftKings play if you want to do
yeah.
that. But if you want to bet outright winners, he's a losing ticket.
So what are your thoughts on JT? I know you've bet JT this year. There were obviously some
Yeah.
bigger numbers on him earlier. He's currently 26-1. Like, are you buying the drift? Like, what? I know you might be close to betting him. Like, how do you feel about JT right now?
I'm kind of close. Just as a numbers thing, I try to do my best, man, and like treating it like how they say with football and like don't bet the teams and bet the numbers. And it feels like that kind of spot for JT, but just discouraging on him as well. I felt like if there was a place that he could actually like work his magic and like the things that he is really good at, Augusta National rewards, and he still wasn't able to really come up with a good finish or even make a cut or even ever really threaten shooting like 3 or 4 under par, which is pretty amazing to me. So I'm out. I think I'm
Out,
out. Yeah,
out.
I'd rather have I'd rather have Max Homa. That's the thing. I think
Yeah.
Max Homa is a lot better player right now, and if neither of them both of them had shaky performances, I think Homa's better.
Yeah, I think the thing with JT is that if he like was playing if he was playing well, miscut at Augusta, it's different. Like, he just hasn't really popped at all this
Right.
year. Like, he just hasn't been himself. I don't think he's been playing that well at all. He played like well like 2 rounds at waist, but other than that, it's been pretty disappointing. So I think that the miscut wasn't that out of the ordinary. I'm out on him too. You did bet Matt Fitzpatrick. There were some neck issues earlier in the year. He showed life at the Masters last week. So you're in on Fitz. You bet him this week.
Yeah, it was my first bet. It's one of those ones where I would like kind of regret right after you do it and you feel kind of sick about it. But that's kind of how I felt about like Rom and a lot of the guys. Some of my best
Yeah.
cards are the ones that make you a little queasy. But the whole narrative of like absolutely it's his favorite stop. It's he'd be here. He's played it every year of his career. Coming off his third best ball striking in the field last week at Augusta. He lost a ton of strokes short game, and he doesn't do that normally. He's about like 75% of his rounds he will gain short game on the field, and he got crushed last week. So the irons were great. The off the tee seemed figured out. He just didn't chip very well. I'm okay seeing that bounce back. He's had really good performance. Like last year, he was like the chalk donkey miscut at this event that buried everyone. But still, he's gained strokes 5 straight events, tee to green here. He's played it every year, like I mentioned, of his career. He's been eligible. So it's weird to me, dude, because I'm sitting here and I'm like betting Fitzpatrick at 30 and Homa's at 30. And I'm like, I think Homa's a lot better player, which has me torn. Like, how can I do those rankings, right? And put Homa 5th and Fitz like 20th and then go bet him instead?
So bet Homa.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's a good play at 28. Sanjay, I'm not betting. I'm just not betting the guy. Like, he just hasn't proven it to me. And I think this is a fine course for him, but he just does not win, and he does not in contention a lot, and his wins have come in extremely weak fields. So I don't see him winning an elevated event. Finau, I feel the same way. I think I need him to prove it to me a little bit more in these big fields, where you can't knock a guy for winning, but his last 3 wins, he was easily top 2 player in the field. So I'm fine on passing on him. Homa's like it's just an interesting case study in golf betting because he continues to not get super respect from the books, but he is. I do want to say, tough week for Max, kind of coming off the season that he's had, to just have another extremely disappointing result in a major. Yeah. Like, what are your thoughts on kind of Max's underperformances in majors and how that relates to kind of him in the golf betting community and like betting him on a week-to-week basis?
I'm not ready to call it a problem just yet. He's not winning Victor Hovland events. He's not winning Tony Finau events. He's winning really big events. I thought he was the best player overall in the President's Cup. I thought that he's, obviously has wins at Riviera and almost, Torrey Pines and almost won again at Riv and Quail Hollow. So he's done it in big fields. I'm not like, it could be a thing. I think I'd give it maybe another year and a half. If he still can't crack a top 10, then we have a problem. But I don't think he's quite gotten to that point yet, because it's really only had like 6 majors where he's been this version of Max Homa that we see now. Yeah. So the other stuff, back from like 2020 or prior to that, I can kind of write off.
Yeah, I think he's I think just on a pure numbers play, like I think it's a good bet this week given the talent. Lowry, I was on him last year. Heartbreaking loss, really upsetting. He's 35-1 this week. The ball striking's been unbelievable. The guy can't buy a putt. The guy just cannot putt. Yeah. And I think he was playing a lot better golf last year when he was in contention and should have won this tournament. So I'm happy to pass on 35-1. Like I really have no problem missing Shane this week. He was a much better player last week. You bet Tom Kim. What number did you get him at?
40-1. Is he better than that now?
No, he's 40 across the board.
Okay. Yeah, listen, I actually was following him pretty closely on the app and liked a lot of what I saw. I just think he needed He needed the hard reset that was Augusta National, man, for his expectations, because I think that they got a little bit elevated. I think that that started to kind of wear on him a little bit early in the season, and he had his best week since the American Express in terms of any stats across the board. So he looked good. It just was able to, I guess, free him up without this heavy burden of, we think you're going to top 10 everything, Tom Kim. It's just when you show up to the Masters for your very first time, you have no expectation. You're completely stripped of everything. And he went out there and had a top 16 finish. So I think this is a great course for him. Obviously got his win in North Carolina. Obviously is familiar with this. You can kind of connect the dots, I think, pretty seamlessly between
Yeah, a
those
lot of
two golf
crossover.
courses.
A lot of
Yeah.
crossover
So
between the Wyndham and this event.
I'm okay with it. He had a good, like I mentioned, he had a good week with the irons, and I think it's a good course fit.
Love it. I do think it's a good course fit. I do think he can continue the trend of kind of, there's a lot of crossover between here, Colonial, and the Wyndham. So I do think anytime you get on a short positional course, I think Tom Kim's going to be a play. He's going to be a good shout. I bet Hatton at 45 with you. Like
Yep.
I bet it. I never cash out bets because it's just like the worst thing ever. I think this is just a little bit of a numbers play for me. Not that like he let everyone down. Like he was playing unbelievable golf for a little bit. He might have peaked. He might have peaked. Like I'm ready to say that, but I think that if you told me after the Players that we would get a 45-1 on Hatton here, like we would bet it. And I do think that this is a good course for him. He finished top 5 at this event in the 2020 year. I like him on Bermuda tracks. Did he make the cut last week?
I just had it up. Hatton finished
Yeah,
34th.
34th. All right, fine. All right,
And
just
he placed the
extremely
Masters
average.
terribly. That might be his best career finish at the Masters, actually.
Boom. Boom. He's trending 45-1. I bet it. I'm not cashing out. I'm in. What brought you to Hatton this week?
Yeah, he hits more greens in regulation than anyone on the board above him right now. Over the last 24 rounds, he's his iron play, man. His last 12 starts, he's gained strokes ball striking. I had the same exact concern that you did, that maybe this peak has kind of eclipsed and we're on the back end of it now. But I'm ready to give it one more shot at the Heritage, at a great course for him. He's averaged like gaining 8 strokes on the field at this event over the last 3 times. Almost won it in 2020, the year that I believe Webb did.
Yep.
It's a great fit for him. He's playing awesome. Like 45-1 is more than fair with his form. And I think we roll it out one more time, especially at this spot, before we're saying that the run is kind of over.
Sweet. We're like close to Florida. Like it's fine.
Yep.
Like it's basically Florida. Like it's all good. Yeah, so I'm with you. I'm not gonna cash out. I'll be fine with that. I bet the Gala at 80-1. He's 60-1 now. I really don't hate that at all. The season that he's having is just really, really impressive. 9th at the Masters, 6th at Genesis, 4th at Farmers. Like he just is showing up at these big events when the best golfers are in the field. And I just think he does kind of a lot of things like above average. Like I don't think he has an extremely elite skill set, but he's shown that he can contend and almost win a short Pete Dye course at the Travelers. I think this is another guy. He's going to win on tour. It's just a matter of when. So I'll take a 60-1 on him.
Do you think he's going to make the Ryder Cup?
Well, Zal's out. Like,
yeah,
I think it's between like Billy, Kirk, Kurt, and Sahith.
And Keegan, I think, is in the mix.
I would love to see Keegan on it. I just like if they could. Like if it's Keegan over Sahith, like I would take Sahith just for like future concerns. But I do like Keegan needs a couple more big events like for him to be a contention. I would love to see him on it, but there are two spots open in my opinion.
Yes. So I think a lot of those guys are going to end up, I think it's going to be him or Keegan, I think is going to be the last pool. And I think that it's interesting because it's like, I think Keegan's probably the better fit for that run over there. Yeah. But it's like, have they gotten cocky enough to just be like, we want Thagala because we think he can play 4 more Ryder Cups, and we want to bring in the young blood with the
Yeah.
juice and bring in the locker room energy and the good vibes, and like we think we're gonna win. So let's like lead this kid. It's like bringing on a rookie to like a veteran team. It's like
Yeah.
get him some minutes with us, and like we'll teach him the ways.
No, I think like I don't think they should have Billy should not be on the team. They don't
No,
need
he's playing
Billy
like
on the
shit.
team at all. Billy out. Kurt Kitayama, like I
Yeah, it's
think
the interesting one. He's
maybe,
in
and
right
then
now.
I think Chris Kirk, but it doesn't make any sense. I just don't think the US is going to take Chris Kirk on the team. Like unless he like really, really, really plays well, like go. I just don't think they're going to take Kirk. I would love to see Sahith and Keegan. Like that would be awesome. Like that would be epic for our last 2 spots. Like I think that would be awesome to see. So yeah, I'm hoping Sahith can kind of put it together this week. I think the next range, I think it's a lot of good guys that can kind of I could see them honestly winning. I really don't think it's that crazy to think Poston, Ricky, Siwoo, Fleetwood, Kirk, Rose, like even
Yeah.
Keegan I'll throw in there. Like I think this is you really can't go wrong with like either of these. Like I think that none of them are kind of head and shoulders above.
Right.
The rest, I think Siwoo is, he probably got his win for the year, but I think this is a good course for him. I think this is a great course for Chris Kirk. He's played well here. He has a win at Colonial. He's had a really good season, and I just think anytime you get those mid irons and accuracy off the tee, like Chris Kirk kind of pops. So I like Kirk.
Me too. Doesn't gain a lot off the tee, but approach around the green, putting, he's like a huge gainer in all 3 of those. Been in good form. Even 23rd at the Masters is like very solid for Chris Kirk.
Yeah, no, I think Chris Kirk will have a good week. I like him in the placement market. First round leader, I'm in on it. That's just kind of like a gut feel thing. Like I'm in on Kirk. First round leader. That will be my exposure to him. Kind of in the long shot range. If I have room, I think I do. Like I do think it makes sense to bet Denny this week at 130 to 1. Like I really do. Anytime you get on like a short Bermuda track, like you just bet Denny McCarthy. 130 to 1 in this field is extremely fair. I don't think that other than the 2 wins, like I don't think that there's 60 points of difference between Denny and JT Poston this week.
Right. It's the 2 wins. Yeah. And it's getting to the point now where it's almost like Denny doesn't really have like a course fit because he's never won anywhere. And it used to feel like these shorter tracks, but he's picked up distance off the tee. When his irons get hot, they stay hot usually for the rest of the day or so until Sunday comes around. But yeah, look, I've been down this rabbit hole so many times. I'm gonna go there at 130 to 1. Yeah.
Boom, done. And then your last long shot, you bet him at the PGA. I don't hate that at all. I really don't. I think he has one more contention in the major with him. Like I do think that that could be the ball striking has been unbelievable. And I just think that he can have a good major season just given how good of a ball striker he is and how like he doesn't have to go out and make a zillion birdies.
Yeah, long iron play, man. And it's funny that he plays well on short courses because like from like 210 yards, Gary Woodland is like a top 5 player in the world. Like he's an absolute stud. He struggles around the green. He struggles with putting. He's been working on both of those things. He got the same HGH doctor as Brooks Koepka. So they've both been like shot up and they're good to go and they're healed from injuries and we've rejuvenated.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good play. Like the ball striking has been there. And yeah, I do like him at the PGA. I still have to decide if I want to go. I know you go to golf tournaments. Like, do you think it's worth it to pay $350 to travel up to Rochester to go to a major championship? Like,
what's the drive like for you?
It would be like 6 hours, or I could take probably like flying would be a lot. But it would be like a 6-hour drive, and it's Rochester in May. Like
that's a lot.
I like going to golf tournaments, but I like
too.
going at like $100. Like I don't go to a golf tournament like this is the greatest thing ever.
Andy's got tickets, man. Just hit him up.
I don't think I could get in for free. Well, we shall see.
No, I'm kidding.
But it just kind of like I do want to go because like there's only so many chances to go up to a major, but like to travel like 14 hours. Like maybe if I like was
better. Like you're gonna have a chance to get like one of those, right? Beth Page is coming back soon. I think.
At the Ryder Cup. Yeah. No, I like
That
that.
Page
That
has a
makes sense.
Ryder Cup coming up?
Yeah, Beth Page Ryder Cup 2025.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. No, that'll be really
That's
great.
sick.
That yeah, I mean it'll be very expensive. The Ryder Cup is like a horrible viewing experience, but I'm looking forward to it. It will be good. And yeah, I was thinking about it. They're kind of on like the Whistling Straits run because like they've had three majors this century and one Ryder Cup, but they don't have anything on the schedule for like a really long time. Same with
Hmm.
Whistling Straits. And I think that makes sense. Like you can only do like kind of like so much
Yeah.
like at one place. So I think they'll get some time off and be back. But other long shots I don't think can win. I like kind of in the placement market. I like Seamus Power. He always plays well on short courses. I really like Brendan Todd. Like this is just a great Brendan Todd course. He's been playing well. He can make the cut like DraftKings purposes. I really like Brendan Todd. Um that's I like also like Sam Stevens. He's
I
just
was gonna
playing really
say,
good golf. Like he's gonna make the cut. He'll finish. Like I
shoot.
like him in DraftKings. Like I really like Sam Stevens this week.
Yeah, I think I thought Sam Stevens for a while was Sam Bennett, um,
No.
for a long time. But yeah, back to back top threes. Yeah, we can go there at 7 grand on DraftKings.
Yeah, that'll be an easy click. Are you playing a lot of DFS recently?
Not really. No, I don't
Yeah.
really like it any much anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. It's tough. It's like really
Thank you
tough.
for standing up to Chad with that ridiculous take that he had
Yeah.
about DFS being like the better place to put your money. Like
Yeah. I
that's
mean, he's been
that's
killing it
insane.
in DraftKings, so like good for him.
He had another good week, I know, but you look, you get wiped out real quick when you're going all
Yeah.
in on DraftKings with your entire account. There's just it's I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's the right kind of contest for like a player like us who doesn't want to like spreadsheet build 150 lineups. Like I want to hand build and like agonize
Yeah.
over my one lineup, and it just feels like there's so much luck involved that I'd
Yeah.
rather bet. And you made a great point in like even if you had what was his name, Taylor
Taylor Moore.
Moore, like yeah, it's like yeah, you can have the winner, but if you don't get six other guys perfectly right, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's tough. I just don't play it. Like when I have money, I'll play it, but like I just don't have like I lose enough money like betting on golf every week that like to just also like get easily wiped out on that. It's just tough for me at the moment to do. But you know, maybe we'll get back into it. Maybe after Cam Young wins this week. Do you like I know you don't bet a lot. Do you like any first round leaders this week? Do you
I
ever
don't usually
wager
do
in
those.
that? Why not?
I don't know, man. I don't ever have any success with it. So I try to just stick to the things in my wheelhouse. It's matchups and it's outright. So I was just flushed. It was the same way I felt like with DraftKings. I was just like flushing an extra a couple $100
Yeah.
down the drain on
Yeah,
first
no,
round
that
leader.
that like it's the best sweat in the world. I don't know. I just got this text from two random numbers. Kirsch, have you heard about the signs of having a colonoscopy this week? Colonoscopy Morikawa. Legitimately no idea who these people are. And I thought someone like texted me wrong that they were actually having a colonoscopy. But they are
Interesting.
betting I have no idea who this is, so I'm just gonna say, "Who are you?"
Your numbers leaked, man. Somebody let it out there.
That would be tough. It's probably someone I don't know. Anyway, we gave you the winner tonight. It's somewhere in there. I'm not really
Satin.
sure who. Yeah, Hatton. Hatton.
Satin.
We're not cashing out. What are you doing with preferred lines? How's that going? How's the guest list going? Like, still waiting for my invite. Like, I'll be waiting. It's fine whenever you want to have me on. But are you enjoying your content this year? Everything's good.
Yeah, everything's good, man. I enjoy it. It's kind of like you. It's fun to just like I think it's fun, and I don't know. You've obviously got BetSperts and other stuff, but it's fun to. I don't know. I would love to like have like a presented by golf.com or whatever it is, but it's just kind of fun to just have total ownership over like
Yeah.
an hour a week and be able to talk about whatever you want to talk about. Like if it's controversial, if it's a horrible take, like just to be able to say it is nice. So I enjoy the show. I get to lucky like you get to have a different guest on every week. It's hard, like honestly, people don't get enough respect for guys like us who are trying to play a host role with a different guest every week. It's not always the easiest thing to get
Yeah.
down like cadence and questions and timing and stuff like that with learning someone new every week. So obviously you've done a great job of it over the years, but we'll get you on there absolutely soon. We've got 3 majors to go. But it was great talking to you, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no, I appreciate your work. I enjoyed Prefer Lines. I enjoyed listening to it. It's a great pod. Everyone should go check it out. But yeah, I do think that like we are just like personable people, and we can have our friends on and talk golf. And I think it gives a good, interesting perspective for the tournament when you have someone else on. So I appreciate you joining me tonight. I wish you the best of luck with your bets this week and everything that you got going on. And we will see you in 2 weeks for the Mexico Open.